welcome to the Cultivating Calmness Podcast. My name is Kaela Vance, and today I want to talk about Mother's Day. Yep, Mother's Day is going to be here in just a few short days, May 12th this year. And of all the things we could talk about, I kind of just wanted to hit a few different subjects on Mother's Day. And since I am someone who is a mother, but also is somebody who lost their mother, I think that I like to talk about this and talk a little bit about my experience and talk about some of the things that you could do if you are also missing your mother in some way, shape, or form, or struggling maybe with not being a mother and you are one, or if you are one and struggling with that too. So lots of things that are both good and not so good about celebrating Mother's Day, and wanted to address that here today. So thank you for joining me. So May 12th is Mother's Day, as I said, and this year it also happens to fall on my grandpa's birthday. So he will be turning 91 this year. So just wishing my grandpa a happy 91st birthday here coming up this weekend. And Mother's Day since I was 7, I guess 8. I celebrated my first Mother's Day without my mother when I was 8. And I can't say that I exactly remember it. What I do remember is being in school and, every year, especially in elementary school, your teachers are helping to prepare projects or some little craft for your mom on Mother's Day, since it still falls within the school year. And just that, not knowing who I'm supposed to make my project for while all my classmates are making projects for their moms. And I recall making projects for my grandma, my mom's mom. We were lucky enough to have her in our life and still have her in our life. And she and her husband, my grandpa, would be there after school with us and watch us. So they were a great help to our family. So, she was always grandma, but growing up and being an adult, I can see how she was, played, a surrogate mother role in our life. But when, in our family, I can't speak for all families, I feel like my siblings and I had many surrogate mothers, and that included all of our aunts. And then it also ended up including teachers or friends' parents, things like, people like that in our lives that were also mother figures for us, just not our mom. And, for me, I don't know that I recognized that until I was older. They were always just an aunt. But now, as an adult, being a mom, I am able to see the role that they played, and they're able to talk to me about, that experience from their perspective and what that was like, and what they thought their role was in our lives. So it's an interesting turn of events to just be able to see it from a different perspective now. And so I can't say that Mother's Day was necessarily a terrible experience. Looking back, I can't exactly say that I recall feeling exceptionally sad on that day, although I know it was sad, but there were always other people to celebrate on Mother's Day. So both grandmas, aunts, friends, other people to recognize. So we were able to recognize mothers. It may not have been our mother, and we would be able to visit her and talk to her at her grave at the cemetery. It was something that we as a family did often. And for some people, when we talk about acknowledging your mothers if they are deceased, and if you're able to, that might mean going to their grave and laying flowers or talking to them or cleaning the gravesite or anything like that. For some people, yes, your mom may be buried in a cemetery and have a plaque or a headstone, but for some people that's not their mom. That's not where they remember or think about their mom, and maybe it's somewhere else. So for you, if you're missing your mom on Mother's Day and you have a place that helps you to feel connected to her, then go there, do that. Even if it's a place maybe you just have to kind of visit in your mind. Maybe it's a vacation you took, or just a peaceful place that you think about her or your person, whoever that may be, allow yourself to go there in your mind and take some, practice some mindfulness and imagine being there with your mom. There's nothing wrong with that. So today, or not today, but Mother's Day, is a special day, and it can be a fun day and a day to celebrate love and recognize the women in your life who are mothers. But it can also be a sad day for many people for many different reasons. And so today I also want to share just some of the things that you can do to recognize mothers, specifically mothers who maybe aren't here with us today. But before we get into that, and just wanting to recognize all the different types of mothers out there, because they all play different roles in our lives. And there are the mothers we think of, our biological parents. And then there are the mothers that maybe we don't think about, and the mothers that I want you to be able to think about if you haven't, or maybe you are one of these mothers. And I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. And there's a phrase out there that's kind of like, once a mother, always a mother. And that recognizes those mothers who maybe have lost a child or more than one child, who maybe have children, but also have children who are not here with us. And just because they aren't here with us and you don't have them to show doesn't mean that they aren't still your children, and doesn't mean you aren't still a mother to them. So we want to recognize you as well. But we have our stepmothers. We have foster mothers, adoptive mothers, motherless mothers, mothers who've lost children, as I said, mothers who are struggling with infertility, mothers who maybe don't have kids today because their children are deceased, mothers who are, or women who are longing to be mothers and who aren't yet for any number of reasons. We have those unexpected mothers, and that can cover a range of people, but those would be maybe the women who are currently pregnant and didn't know they weren't expecting to be pregnant. It was unplanned. Maybe it's the mothers who have children who maybe wish they weren't mothers. Life is difficult, and maybe you're going through something difficult. We are here for you. Unexpected mothers could be people who were thrown into a mother role who maybe aren't necessarily the biological parent. So sometimes that can come about for any number of reasons: death, or parenting that isn't appropriate or helpful, or able to happen. So maybe that looks like an aunt or a grandparent taking over the parenting role because biological parent is unable to parent in whatever way, shape, or form. And so in that category, I said like grandmothers, because I have worked with a lot of families where the grandparents are the parents now, again, for a multitude of reasons. And so, they're expecting to be grandparents, which is a different role. And now they're the parent and the grandparent, and that can look different and feel different and have its own difficulties. And we have mothers with strained relationships with their children. So whether that's, with young children living in your home, or that's adult children and you've set boundaries, and, there are things that are going on between you, and you can't, you haven't found a way to reconcile those differences. So you have this strained relationship that can be difficult. So on Mother's Day can be a difficult day for anybody in any of these categories. Even, mothers that don't have any of the things going on in the list I already listed. So happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, whoever you are listening, whoever is listening. If you're listening and you're not a mother, you're thinking about all those mothers. And if you have a mother that fits into that category, you're thinking about them, asking them what they want to do, what they need today, especially if we're talking about somebody who's experienced loss. It can be a difficult process. Something just now I was thinking of, even foster mothers, a lot of them take great care in the children that they have in their homes. And oftentimes, most of the time, they don't get to keep those children, and those children move on, whether they go back to their homes or they move on to a different home. you form a relationship and a bond with children, and then they have to say goodbye. So it can be difficult for mothers in that category too. Mothers who are stepmothers, those have all different kinds of relationships, including the strained relationships. So it can be hard to be a stepmother too. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. If you are a grieving mother, if you are a mother who is missing somebody, I just want to give some things for you to think about. Some ways that you may be able to recognize your mother and have a relationship with your mother the way that you want to. Recognize the way you want to recognize your mother today, or in the days leading up to Mother's Day, on Mother's Day, after Mother's Day. It's whatever's important to you, whatever works for you. And I'll kind of leave it at that. So lots of different ways you can recognize your mother. Some of these things that I'm going to say may be things that you may not be able to do in the moment, but maybe something you prepare for, maybe something that, since it is just a few days away, you may not have these things readily available to you on Mother's Day, but if you're thinking about it and you take the plunge and you take the step and you take action and you do these things and you decide that you want to do these things for you. So some of these are more of a long-term goal. They're not going to happen, immediately. But for others, you could pretty quickly think of some of these things and do them. Okay, so I have actually found some unique commemorative items that you can buy online specifically for ashes. So if you are somebody that has access to your mom's ashes and you want those to be a part of something special, some people are perfectly content and okay with having the ashes in an urn, and you have your urn that looks like whatever you want it to look like. If you don't, now's your time to think about buying an urn or something that looks the way you want it to look, has everything on it that you want it to have. Some people's ashes are buried. Some people have decided to spread ashes. So for you, that may be, maybe you haven't done it. Maybe you consider spreading the ashes in different places. Some people will disperse the ashes, bury the ashes, but save some of them for projects like I'm gonna give you. So one of them I actually recently just found out about. It's called parting stone. And what they do is they take your cremated remains and they turn them into stones. And each set of remains, I guess, has a unique color to them because each person is unique. So an author that I follow, and I have one of her books, which I don't have here today, she recently did this for a baby that she carried that did not live. And so it was a very memorable moment, and she shared that with her followers, and that's how I found out about them. So that may be something unique for you, is look into these things called parting stones, P-A-R-T-I-N-G, parting stones, and you can order them, and you would have to look into how much they need and how much those are, but those would be a unique thing you could do. And they're these very smooth stones that you can have to remember your loved one. Another one that I've known for a while, a pretty long time, and when I went to look them up to find the name, now there are lots of companies that do this, but I believe when I found them over a decade ago that they were one of the first. Maybe they were the first, or maybe I just thought they were the first, but the particular company that I found was called Artful Ashes, and what they do is they add the ashes to blown glass. So I think they used to start as just paperweights. So they were like round globes, paperweights, and they could make a design, and they would, if you know anything about blown glass, they will like roll the hot glass in the ashes or the color or whatever it is that they're wanting to, add to the glass. And then that is in the artwork that they make for you. But now it looks like they do all different kinds of like artwork. They had like a oil globe, so it was hollow inside, and it was like an oil lamp, starfish, and other shapes. So it looks like they can do a lot. And so it can also, I'm talking about moms, but you can do this for anyone's ashes, including pets. So that's a company. there are lots of companies out there now that also do that. So you could do that. Some other types of things like that, not necessarily with ashes, but you could do with ashes, is any type of jewelry. So if you could think of it, it could probably be made. So there's necklaces, there's rings, lockets, bracelets, anything can be, any type of jewelry can be made using ashes. I've seen people use hair, again, from animals, from a person. I've seen, there's jewelry out there, again, like for mothers. This may or may not work for you, but if you're a mother and you're wanting to commemorate, your child, especially if your child has died, you could do breast milk jewelry. So if you still have your breast milk saved, there are tons of companies out there that make breast milk jewelry. So you send them a little sample of your breast milk and they can turn it into a ring or jewelry. Most of them are like water temperature sensitive, but there are a few companies out there now offering jewelry where you can wear it for like when you wash your hands, and it can get wet and it won't change the color of the jewelry. So that is something that is out there for you. If you hadn't heard of it, now you have. If your mom is deceased and you have seen, if you've been to a funeral home, a lot of times they will offer now. When my mom died, they did it. And I actually reached out several years ago to see if by chance this was something they happened to do. Back in 1995, it wasn't. But you can get like thumbprints, fingerprints from your loved ones, and then you can turn that into jewelry. You could have like a thumbprint added to a necklace or a bracelet, lip prints. Sometimes if you have a card where your mom maybe has kissed it, or if they, when they died, if that was something that they did, but you got an imprint of their lips, you could do that. In the hospital for babies, if they are, if you have miscarried, or you can often get, they'll have footprints or handprints of your babies. If, they, when they were born, that is often done now, handprints and footprints. I know my kids were done. And so you have that, and you can use those things and turn those things into something special for you. Again, jewelry is something that I see a lot of, but you could do like lockets with pictures in them, the birthstone. So I have a necklace on right here, if you're watching. It is like a figure 8, like an infinity, basically, and they're my brother actually had this made from my mother's old mother's ring, wedding ring, and it is my birthstone and then a diamond from that ring, and that was my mom's ring. So I wear this. I used to wear a different necklace of my mom's, and so now I wear this to remember my mom. And so, I can be found like playing with it, touching it, and that's just usually a moment where I'm remembering or thinking about my mom. And so this is, special to me. Oftentimes people will get, other things. It's like tattoos. You can get tattoos to remember your mother or your loved one. Again, these are things that will take time. These aren't things if you're hearing about it first time today, if you ordered it today, you probably would not get it by Mother's Day, but it would be a gift that you could give yourself, or you could tell somebody in your life that you would like this type of gift and they can make it happen for you. Some things that I've done in, my life to remember my mother is like running a race. So she died from ovarian cancer. So oftentimes people will take part in these types of races that raise money for awareness, and they will create a team in their person's honor. We had t-shirts made on several occasions with either my mom's picture on it or some form of a picture and her name. So those are things that you could do to remember your mom or remember your loved one as a mom. You can do some kind of an art piece with or for your mom. There are pictures out there. There are several artists that I follow now where it's they will create like drawings of a family, and they will include everybody in the family, including people who are deceased, and then they'll have the little angel halos around their heads, And that is maybe a nice gift for you or for somebody else who is missing somebody on Mother's Day. Let's see. So those are some like artistic-y type things that you can do to remember your mother on Mother's Day, or to remember your loved ones on Mother's Day. Again, being a mother, maybe you have lost a child and you are remembering them, and that is what makes maybe today a little difficult for you. But thinking about going someplace that's their favorite, whether it's a location like a park or a bench, or maybe it's just a place that reminds you of them. So maybe your mother never went there, but you go there and you often think of them for whatever reason. Go there, do that. Maybe it happens to fall on Mother's Day, maybe it doesn't. There's no judgment, that's okay. Ultimately, I want you to do what you need to do on Mother's Day. And that can be hard because there's a lot of obligation. There's a lot of feelings of like, oh, I should be doing something. I should be feeling something, shoulda, woulda, couldas. And that can cause us to feel a little reserved and maybe not speak up about what we need. And then by the end of the day or the weekend or whenever we're celebrating, we can feel, we can feel bad. We can feel just drained, overwhelmed, sad. So I want you to take the time that you need. If that means you don't celebrate on Mother's Day, that's okay. Tell the people that you love. Hopefully they understand. And if they don't, I am sorry that is the case. It's also okay to give yourself permission to take that time to give yourself to have peace. So, it's okay to do nothing at all. It's okay to send everybody away to go celebrate and you don't, if that is what you need. So I don't want you to feel guilty. And if later on you wish you had celebrated, hey, schedule another day and celebrate Mother's Day on a different day. That's okay too, So what if people say something about it? That's more on them than it is on you. You do what you need to do. Maybe it's planning to do something that is for you, but reminds you of them. So we're not talking about spa days and things like that. Although, if that's what works for you, that's great. That's fine. But I'm talking about being able to remember your person, whether that's your mom or your child or some version of something like that. Mother's Day can be equally as filled with love and happiness, as well as sadness and pain, and finding those things that is going to help you can make this day so much better for you. Trying to find the happy moments even within the sad. My mom isn't here, but my mom hasn't been here for a long time, so it's not necessarily a sad day as much anymore. I do think about her and it does bring up some sadness, but it's not one where I feel like I need a day to myself and where I can't function today. For some, that may be the case. That's okay. Maybe you save a seat for them at your table. Maybe you go to their favorite restaurant or a restaurant that reminds you of them. Maybe you decide to make a particular food that reminds you of them on Mother's Day, or have somebody make the food for you. Sharing memories of your person, sharing memories of them, talking about them, saying their name. Sometimes other people around you may be afraid to talk about them or to say their name because they're afraid of upsetting you or making you sad. It's okay to tell them. So tell the people around you, like, yes, please talk about so-and-so. Please say their name. Please share memories. Yes, I might cry. Yes, it might make me sad, but I also want to hear about them. I want to know about them and remember, and I want to know that you remember that they existed. Because sometimes we feel like, hey, nobody talks about them. Do they even remember them? Do they even care? So having somebody talk about them, including yourself, can make that a little more real for you and everybody else. I think I have talked a lot about some things that came to mind: journaling, writing things down, writing a letter to your person, folding it up, either, putting it away, burning it, burying it, just keeping it in your journal. All of those things are okay, but journaling can be very effective in remembering your loved one and expressing your feelings and getting some of those things out rather than keeping them all inside. Maybe planting a tree, planting some kind of plant, buying a plant in memory of your person, remembering other people. So maybe, you're not ready to remember yourself or remember your mom, but celebrating other moms. recognizing the joy that they bring to your life. Maybe that's what you do today, or I say today, but on Mother's Day, maybe that's what you do on Mother's Day, and you don't do it for yourself, and you save that for another time. So I hope you found some of these things useful and helpful. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there, no matter what kind of mother you are. I hope you have an enjoyable day and that the pain is not too difficult for you and you can find some joy in today. And if not, that you're taking that time for yourself and you're resting and you're giving yourself that needed respite if possible. Have a wonderful day today. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week for Cultivating Calmness.